Okay, so I wanted to take a moment to bring you in on the reality of what somebody on SSI is actually living with. Now, I know a lot of you are on SSDI benefits and you're probably getting somewhere between, what I've seen is a lot of 1200 to basically, let's say 2500. That's where most people are at that I interact with when it comes to their benefits. Sure, some of them are in the, like 3 grand territory. There's some of those, but it's usually somewhere between 1200 and 2500 bucks per month. I get it. You're not that far away from $914. I get it. But America does not invest heavily into its SSI population because it costs general taxes and the politicians want to use that money for something else. Unless there is a provision for immigrants and asylum seekers and refugee seekers to get a 7-year allowance of SSI benefits upon filing and being approved. There's obviously some limitations for them entering this country to be able to live here. So they get 7 years plus a 2-up option, 2-year plus option when they come here. And that's what I think this whole thing is becoming when it comes to President Biden's treatment of the southern border. Okay, the main focal point is he wants votes. He's going to vote for him. That's a great way to do it, is by getting immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. I get it. Everybody else gets it. Nobody's surprised by it. The federal government has complete control over immigration policies. So can they use it to their advantage? Yes. Republicans have to keep potential, poverty votes out. Democrats want to get as many poverty votes in. That's the reality. Okay. But here are essentially 5 things that SSI people will never really know. And now my question to you is, do you feel that SSI people should know them? Do you feel that they should have access to these things as Americans? Number 1, the experience of traveling overseas. Think about it for a moment. Just think about it for a moment. How many of you have traveled overseas to France or Sweden or Ireland or wherever? How many of you have gone back to India, gone back to Taiwan, gone back to one of the Koreas? Well, obviously, one more than the other. But how many of you have done that? Many SSI people have never experienced that in their life. Almost all will never experience that in their life. I know some of you are sitting back and saying, well, the flights suck. I mean, sitting there for 10 to 15 hours on a flight is miserable. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Going to another place, having money to spend in another currency, which is usually more expensive than the US dollar. Going to this other place, experiencing it, being in like a touristy area, having to spend a lot of money just to be able to have a biscuit and a coffee. You know what I mean. They're not going to ever experience that. Number 2, having friends that view them as backup when the chips are down. I have people that ask me for funds all the time. If I have a little extra money, I help them out. If I don't help them out. That's just the way of the world. But SSI people are almost never considered as a financial backup. Sure, they are considered as somebody to watch the kids. Sure, they're considered somebody to stand in line there for you to hold the spot. Sure, but they're never considered a financial backup. And many of you don't think about this, but that has a very damaging effect on the brain because we think of value in this country as somebody worth money. We treat rich people better than we do poor people because we want the rich people to like us, like magically they're going to give us some like good luck or something, but they don't. So the point is, because of that, these SSI people will never be considered a financial backdrop or backup. And that has a psychological effect. Just consider it. Just think about it. Number 3, ordering food to show off to their loved ones. All right. What do poor people do when they get a little extra money? They order a nicer food. They order, takeout. They order delivery. But they order food. That's what they want. That's what they do when they have a little extra money and they're trying to show off. Right? That's what SSI people do. Oh, I got a little extra there. I'm going to show off and do this. I'll buy the phone. I'll buy the cute purse. I'll buy the nice jacket. And I'll buy some food for my family. That's what they do. SSI people, massive inflation, massive devaluation of the dollar. They're not going to be able to buy food for their family that way anymore. So those tiny little moments where people have financial worth, financial, showing off, Like, oh, look at this, look at that. They don't have that. And they're going to have it even less now because of how the country is doing economically. Okay. All right. Next one, number 4, hearing that their surgeon is a legend in the medical community. Okay. Let's take a moment real quick. No SSI people, no SSI people get the top medical personnel working on them. Let me say it again. No SSI people get the top medical personnel working on them. You know why? Because Medicaid doesn't pay for the top personnel. The top personnel are a very small piece of Medicare and private health insurance, the up and above and beyond health insurance. So you're never going to really, as an SSI person, come out of a surgery or go into a surgery thinking everything's going to be fine, because you're not getting a top-notch medical professional. You're getting like the person that's down one, down one, down one, down a couple more right here, right. I can't on the screen, like right there at the bottom of the screen, right there. That's right there. That's the medical professional that's going to be doing the surgery. Okay, so it's something to think about, because they don't want to go in for medical treatment to get the big stuff done, the big surgeries, because they don't want the slop shop medical professional who barely made it through med school and is now the Medicaid doctor to go ahead and be working on them. I know what you're thinking. Well, they paid for it. That's what they paid for. And I get it. I understand it. But that's not what this video is about. This video is a thinking video about what's the effect of it on an SSI person. Number 5. I think number 5 is an interesting one. And I think it's something that was brought up to me, not exactly in this fashion or way, but it was brought up to my brain when I was talking with somebody about car doors. Okay, so a guy I was talking to, young guy, inner city, classic, like, inner city African American guy, trying to basically get forward, get, up and up in the life a little bit, and trying to make something of himself, trying to be something, trying to figure out a way to be more than just somebody on SSI benefits. And so we were talking about cars, and I don't know bleep about luxury cars. Like, I know a Mercedes is like an up car. I know like a Bugatti is like a wow car, like a Bentley or a Rolls Royce or a Maybach, although I think they're owned by those companies. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. The point is, he knew cars. He knew cars really well. And he was telling me about the sound of car doors. And I was like, he's like, yeah, those sound really good. And I was like, oh yeah, the engine, I bet, is really nice on them. Lots of good, good transmission, lots of potential shifting gears. And he's like, no, the doors, the soundproofing. And I was like, okay. Because, I know that they put soundproofing in higher end cars. I just, the doors and how much designing goes into that. So actually, if you YouTube videos about sound design and closing car doors, you'll find that. Oh, wow. Cheryl Johnson, thank you. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. I super appreciate that. That's awesome. Love the little fox there. Very cool. Very, very cool. So the thing is this. There are products that we have learned from our senses when we see the chrome, when we smell that leather smell, when we taste that type of sugar, when we hear that soft squish sound of basically a luxury door. The point is, and here's exactly what I wrote, the sound of luxury up close. It's always at least another human's life away from theirs. And that's the reality of it. SSI people get to see luxury, more and more of it on YouTube than ever before, right? They can see the videos have good audio, they can see it, experiencing it. Now when they get into their car and they close the door, it sounds like a bang. When the rich people get into their car, it sounds like a little, right? A little, it sounds expensive. And so that's one of the things that SSI people really never get to go ahead and have. I mean, they'll see it. They'll see it on YouTube. They might see somebody walking by or parking at a fancy restaurant with it, but they'll never get to truly experience with ownership the sound of luxury. And I thought that was a really, really cool thing. Robert Wolf said it's called suction. Well, it's suction. It's a lot of rubber, basically material that's pushing against it. And then, suction occurs and it shoots air out wherever it needs to. But point is, it's kind of like when you think about it, the spaceship sealing itself. Like that's what we perceive as luxury, a spaceship door sealing itself, you know? So it's cool. It's really interesting stuff that you just never think about. So, anyways, guys, I will catch you a little bit later. I want to do one more video after this. I think it's important. It's something I've been watching and I've been a little bit worried about. I haven't been super worried about it, but then all of a sudden over the past 2 days, there was a cluster bleep, if you will, pertaining to the bond market. Now, I don't want to get you all freaked out, but just so you know, all of our, social security money, a lot of it goes into these trust funds, which work off of, essentially special bonds, right? It's special bond system where we put our money in, they convert them to special bonds, they sell the special bonds, and then they give us the money. There's a bond market problem occurring in the United States. And to the good side of it, when bonds look really bad, it means that the interest rate is likely to drop because people aren't buying as much. That's what they're telling me as the okay reasoning as to what's going on here. What they're not telling me is that when our bonds are not very strong, guess what happens to the trust funds? Just like other bonds, they're not usually as strong as they should be. Okay, that's just like the bond rating getting dropped. That's like the forecasted model of where the metrics are going for these bonds actually being able to meet their mark and payout. Next video is going to be on that. I'll try to explain what's going on. Don't worry too much because the special bonds are on a little separate track, but there is a problem that we have to watch out for. Not that we can really control it at all. All right. I'll catch you guys at the next video. Please stay safe. Please remember to like, subscribe, click the all button, and I will be back in about, I would say, 5 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes. See you guys in 10 minutes already. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.